Hello everyone, my name is Ardan Kurniawan. In this part, I want to tell you about exporting to foreign markets. Exporting is the process of sending goods or services from one country to other countries for use or sale there. There are the advantages and disadvantages of exporting mode. The advantage, the one is relatively low financial exposure. This means that the firm can control its financial exposure to the host country market as it deems appropriate. Little or no capital investment may be needed if the firm chooses to hire a host country firm to distribute its product. In this case, the firm's financial exposure is often limited to startup costs associated with market research, locating and choosing its local distributor, and local advertising plus the value of the goods and services involved in any given overseas shipment. And then the second advantage is permit gradual market entry. This means that exporting permits a firm to enter a foreign market gradually, thereby allowing it to assess its local condition and fine-tune its products to meet the idiosyncratic needs of host country consumers. If its exports are well received by foreign consumers, the firm may use this experience as a basis for a more extensive entry into that market. For example, the firm may choose to take over distribution of its products from the host country distributor or to build a factory in the host country to supply its customers there, particularly if it finds it can reduce its production and distribution costs or improve the quality of its customer service. And then the third is acquire knowledge about local market. Exporting can pull a firm into foreign markets as a result of opportunities available there. And then the last of advantage is some firms turn to exporting because their production lines are running below capacity or because they seek higher profit margins in foreign markets in the face of downturns in domestic demands. But unfortunately, there are disadvantages of exporting mode. The first is vulnerability to tariff and non-tariff barriers or NTBs, and the second is logistical complexities and then the potential conflicts with distributor. So on the next part, I want to tell you about forms of exporting. The first one is indirect exporting. Indirect exporting occurs when a firm sells its product to a domestic customer, which in turn exports the product in either its original form or a modified form. In the most cases, however, indirect exporting activities are not part of conscious internationalization strategy by a firm. Thus, they yield the firm little experience in conducting international business. Further, for firms that passively rely on the action of others, the potential short-term and long-term profits available from indirect exporting are often limited. For example, the Association of Guatemala Coffee Producers sells bags of coffee to passengers boarding international flights in Guatemala City to gain export sales and to build customer awareness in its product. And then the second is direct exporting. Direct exporting occurs through sales to customers, either distributors or end user located outside the firm's home country. Research suggests that in one-third of cases, a firm initial direct exporting to a foreign market in the result of an unsolicited order. However, its subsequent direct exporting typically result from deliberate efforts to expand its business internationally. For example, Baskin-Robbins followed this deliberate approach in entering the Russian market. It began by shipping ice cream to that country in 1990 from company-owned plants in Canada and Texas. Over a 5-year period, the company opened up 74 retail outlets with Russian partners, carefully observing the likes and dislikes of local consumers. And then the last form of exporting is intra-corporate transfer. Intra-corporate transfer is the sale of goods by a firm in one country to an affiliated firm in another country. This firm is important as the size of multinational corporations have increased. For example, when BP ships crude oil from its storage facilities in Kuwait to its Australian subsidiary, the transaction is counted as a Kuwaiti export and Australian import, but the revenues for the transaction remain within the same firm. The next session is about additional consideration. The sub one is government policies. In the government policies, export promotion policies, export financing program, and the other forms of home country subsidization encourage exporting as an entry mode. Conversely, in the host country, may impose tariff and non-tariff barriers or NTBs on imported goods, thereby discouraging the firm from relying on exports as an entry mode. And then marketing concern. In the marketing concern, there are such image, distribution, and responsiveness to the customer. Often foreign goods have a certain product image or sachet that domestically produced goods cannot duplicate. For the example, Swiss watch, German automobiles, Italian shoes, Cuban cigarettes, and Scottish wool are among the other products group whose allure is closely associated with specific countries. And then the logistical consideration. In the logistical consideration, also enter into the decision to export. The firm must consider the physically distribution costs of warehousing, packaging, transporting, and distributing its goods, as well as its inventory carrying costs and those of foreign customer. Typically, in this logistical consideration, will be higher for exported goods than for locally produced goods, but logistical consideration go beyond more cost. Because exporting means longer supply lines and increased difficulties in communicating with a foreign customer or another country which affiliated. The last from additional consideration is distribution issue. A final issue that may influence a firm's decision to export is distribution. A firm experienced in exporting may choose to establish its own distribution networks in its key markets. For the example is Japanese consumer electronics manufacturers such as Sony, Minolta, and Hitachi typically rely on wholly owned host country subsidiaries to distribute their products to wholesalers and retailers in the developed countries. The cost of establishing and operating this distribution network are offset by two important benefits. The first, a firm captures additional revenue by performing the distribution function, and then the second is maintains control over the distribution process, thereby avoiding the problems. So the next session is about export intermediaries. The first is export management company. An export management company or EMC is a firm that acts as its client's export department. Most are small operations that rely on the service of a handful of professionals. An EMC's staff typically is knowledgeable about the legal, financial, and logistical details of exporting and so frees the exporter from having to develop this expertise in-house. So the EMC may also provide advice about consumer needs and available distribution channel in the foreign markets the exporter wants to penetrate. The EMCs usually operate in one of two ways. Some act as commissions again for exporter. They handle the details of shipping, clearing customs, and document preparation in return for an agreed-on fee. But the others take title to the goods. They make money by buying the goods from the exporter and reselling them at a higher price to foreign customers. And then the Web Pomeranian Association. A Web Pomeranian Association is a group of US firms that operate within the same industry and that are allowed by law to coordinate their export activities without fear of violating US antitrust laws. Web Pomeranian Association engages in market research, oversees promotional activities, freight consolidation, contract negotiation, and other services for its members. It may also directly engage in exporting by buying goods domestically from members and selling the goods in the foreign market on the association's behalf. Although such associations were originally designed to allow smaller related firms to cooperate in promoting export, the most are now dominated by larger firms. The next is International Trading Company. An international trading company is a firm directly engaged in importing and exporting a wide variety of goods for its own account. It differs from an EMC in that it participated in both importing and exporting activity. International Trading Company provides a full of service, including market research, custom documentation, international transportation, and host country distribution, marketing, and financing. Typically, international trading companies have again and offices worldwide. The economic intelligence information they glean from this far-flung operation is one of their most potential competitive weapons. For the examples is Japan's Sogo Sosha, which are an integral part of Japan's keiretsu systems. The Sogo Sosha have prospered for several reasons. Because of their far-flung operation, they continuously obtain information about economic conditions and business opportunities in virtually every corner of the world. The last is other intermediaries. In addition to the intermediaries that provide a broad range of service to international exporters and importers, numerous of other types offer more specialized service. There are manufacturers again solicit domestic order for foreign manufacturers, which is usually on a communication basis. Then the manufacturers export again act as foreign sales department for domestic manufacturers, which is selling those firms' goods in foreign markets. The third is export and import brokers, who bring together international buyers and sellers of such standardized commodities as coffee, cocoa, and grains. And the fourth is freight forwarders specialists in the physical transportation of goods, arranging customs documentation and obtaining transportation services for their clients. The next is about international licensing. Another means of entering a foreign market is a licensing, in which a firm the licensor, called the licensor, see the picture, lists the right to use intellectual property, technology, work methods, patents, copyright, brand names, or a trademark to another firm, called licensee, in return for a fee. So the licensee it pay a royalty back to the licensor. For example, SEC Incorporation has similarly relied on licensing as part of its internationalization strategy. It licensed local companies to construct and operate stores in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Bahrain, and Mexico City. For your information, licensing is a popular model for entering foreign markets because it involves little out-of-pocket costs. A firm has already incurred the cost of developing the intellectual property to be licensed. Thus, the revenue received through a licensing agreement often goes straight to the firm bottom line. Licensing also allows a firm to take advantage of any location advantage of foreign production without incurring any ownership, managerial, or investment obligation. Through the licensing arrangement, the company can establish a presence in the growing international market, generate royalty income with little risk and no investment, and not have to deal with the trials and tribulations of mastering and complexities of foreign retailing markets.